how not direct clients, but he sold part of it to one of his employees, and he gave clients as far as income tax filing. He was going to come up in late September, but for a bunch of reasons.
All right. All right, we're live, folks. Wait for another couple people log on. Clark, I am interstatal with you, buddy. Thank you for being here, Clark. It's 8:30 p.m. Here we go. We got 3 viewers. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a post-World Series Angie's Angles. It is October the 31st in the year of my Lord, 2024. Danica, hey. Thanks for logging in, Danica. I appreciate you. Danica is at the Gagliano Caparuso homestead handing out candy to the little trick-or-treaters with Danny. And Babs. Babs is there. And as you all know that our little Zelda underwent her spaying operation today. And she had both her dew claws removed from her hind legs. Nick Triano, good evening, everyone. Juan Soto wants $700 million a year. Absolutely crazy. And let's give kudos to Nick. Passing the road test. Way to go, Nick. Good job, buddy. So we're going to have a free agent Angie's Angles this evening. I've got some information to share with everybody. But let's spend a couple of minutes on the World Series that was or wasn't. If you know what I mean. And before we do that, folks, I did promise the cigar night tonight. I got my cigar. We got some cherry flavored tobacco. I have it packed. We're going to light it up. All right. Clark, Mark Brooks, my brother from another I am. Duo interstatal. Harold, I am tri-interstatal, my friend Harold. How are you guys? Harold, is it fitting? I got the pipe going tonight, Harold. All right, everybody. So let's recap the World Series. The Dodgers win it in 5. They won it at Yankee Stadium, and there was much hubbub. Is that a word? Hubbubaloo. There was angst in the Gagliano Caparuso household. Let me explain if I can. Barbara is a Yankee fan. I'll give her the respect and call them the Yankees. Harold, I have to do the 2-lighter already. Typically, I only have to do 1 light, but I add a little extra. All right, there we go, guys and gals. Hullabaloo. Thanks, Clock. Hullabaloo. Barbara couldn't understand. She couldn't wrap her head around how gracious she was, and she was. She was legitimately pulling for the New York Mets to beat the Dodgers. And once the Dodgers beat the Mets, she said, okay, Ange, Danny, now you're going to root for my Yankees, yes? And in unison, we said, hell no, Ma. You can't do it, Barbara. You cannot ask a true and blue and orange diehard Met fan to ever root for the Yankees. Now, there's a couple reasons for that, Babs. Harold, I'm not being successful tonight. I don't know why. So we tried to explain to Barbara a couple things. Number one, it's the Yankees. And as a Met fan, you can't root for them. All right, if it goes out, it's going to go out, but I think I got it now. And then Danny and I are die-hard National League fans. We're not fans of the junior circuit. It just doesn't work. Harold, back me up on this. Clark, back me up on this. If the it's called the Padres beat your Cardinals in the divisional game, you're going to be a Padre fan rather than an American League fan, a Boston Red Sox fan, whatnot. Oh, Clark, I cannot believe you. I can't believe you were a Cub fan, but I get it. I get it. I get it because you kept it in the National League. I understand that. Yes, and we had to root for the Dodgers. I'm having a little troubles with the pipe tonight, Harold. I'm not sure why. I thought I perfected it, but apparently not. So anyway, we're just gonna hold it for effect. So last night the Yankees set a record. No team ever came back in a World Series game down 5-0. No team ever. And then the Yankees they looked like the Keystone Cops last night on the field. And I'm not bashing the Yankees. Kudos to the Yankees. Kudos to the Dodgers for making it to the World Series. But the errors were let's call them 2 mental and 1 physical. I'm going to give the Judge error. Listen, that catch off of Freddie Freeman's bat to the wall, 9.9 times out of 10, you're not catching that ball. And Judge caught that ball at a very critical junction of that game. So give Judge some kudos for playing center field. Now, listen, Judge is not a center fielder, much like Brandon Nimmo is not a center fielder, okay? Yet he filled the need, but he's 6'7". You can't be 6'7". Now I look like Sherlock Holmes. I got to get a half of the front, Clark. That's very funny. I got the little rap going on. I'm going to try to light this one more time. Let's see what happens with one more light. And then we'll break out into the free agencies. All right. Now, if we don't stay lit, that's going to be it. Garrett Cole pitched his heart out, much like Ryan Stanek pitched his heart out in the game that kept us in the game against the Dodgers. But he too made a mental error, right? He too didn't cover first base. And now let's try this for a second. Let's try this for a second. Anthony Rizzo was in no position. The way and that ball had a lot of spin on it, folks. And he was a good 20 feet away from the bag. Anthony Rizzo's responsibility was to stop the ball from going past him and to catch the ball. That was his main responsibility. And he had every concept that to flip the ball. And Cole didn't, i.e. Edwin Diaz. It was like life imitating art, if you will. James Krause, is in the house. What's up, James? Harold, I haven't had a chance yet, but I will, I promise. All right, I think I got the rhythm going, Harold, as you would say, the cadence. I think that's the word we need to use tonight is the cadence. So, baseball is officially over in terms of the physical games being played. And Harold, you were kind enough to put up on Facebook today that the Tampa Bay Rays are eyeing up the Oakland Coliseum for at least half the season until their stadium is rebuilt from the horrible destruction of Milton. Now, if that were to happen, it would be a travesty. It makes zero sense to have them play all the way cross country to remove them that far from their fan base, albeit skeleton fan base. Let's call a spade a spade. They're much better suited to do what the Yankees did when they had concrete falling at Yankee Stadium and the Mets and the Yankees split time at Shea Stadium. The Tampa Bay Rays need to play Miami. And Clark is kind enough to report that there's 107 days until pitches and catches, baby. And it's going to fly. And Clark, that's a good segue. Let's bring up my first optics here. So everybody, these are key off-season dates. Today, October 31st, players become free agents and trades can happen. As a matter of fact, the Atlanta Braves traded one Jorge Soler today for a pitcher. November 4th, free agency begins. Deadline for contract options and to make a qualifying offer. November 4th, which is only next week, we got the GM meetings in San Antonio. And let me tell you about San Antonio. If you've never been, go. A beautiful city. Go to the City Walk, visit the Alamo. And let me tell you, I've been to some historical places. I've been to Pompeii. I've been to the Colosseum in Rome. But when I went to the Alamo in San Antonio, I got chills. I actually felt the spirits in San Antonio and the soldiers that lost their lives in San Antonio. It was really numbing. It was really an amazing visit. November 19th, players to decide on their qualifying offers. November 19th, same day at 6 p.m., deadline to protect players from the Rule 5 draft. A mere 3 days later, we have the non-tender deadline. Then we come back and have the December 8th to the 11th winter meetings in Dallas with the Rule 5 draft on the 11th, on the last day of the meetings. January 9th becomes the arbitration filing deadline. And then, like Clark says, we get to see pitches and catches, baby. Now, before I go into the free agency opportunities that are in front of us, I'm going to say something right now, and I just posted on Facebook in one of my groups that I'm in. If I'm Steve Cohen, if I'm Stearns, the exact minute that you're allowed to discuss numbers and years with Pete Alonso and Scott Boras, this is what I do. Gentlemen, we have an offer for you. It's going to be our only offer. We're going to give you a 72-hour window to decide on your future. But here it is. 7 years, $210 million. And you're a Met for life, Pete. Now, you say, oh, that's a lot of money. That Freeman got 180, Goldschmidt got 160, 70. Let me tell you something. Pete deserves to be a $30 million average annual salary guy. $30 million a year. If you break it down, if you're going to offer him 180, you offer him a $30 million more. Over 7 years, that's like 4.7 million extra per year. And I'm not saying whoop-de-doo is only 4.7 million, but we all know the deep pockets that Steve Cohen possesses. And you're doing two things here. You're going to satisfy the fan base where a majority of us want Pete back. And you're saying to Pete, we want you as a New York Met. And it's only going to cost you $4.7 million a year extra to make that happen. Now, after 72 hours, if Pete Alonso, Scott Boras says, we want 211, San Diego, San Francisco, Boston, Chicago's offering us 215. Can you match it? I repeat, gentlemen, 72 hours ago, we offered you 7 years, 210. That was our final offer. And what you do is now in 72 hours, you know exactly how your board is looking in the boardroom. You know exactly that you either check Pete off or you erase his name. And if he walks and says no thanks to $210 million, well, it tells you a lot about everything. And it sets you up perfectly to go get the guys you want to go get. Okay? Oh, yeah, Clark, I'm not surprised. I mean, Lance Lynn he gave you a good season. You can't argue that he didn't give you a good season. Harold, you're telling us that Alonzo should stay a Met. Clark, unfortunately, you're right. And let's put you up on the big board, Clark. Clark is saying, can you guys believe we were talking about paying a guy playing the kids' game $30 million per year? And let's be honest, it's really not a year, right? It's like 8-9 months. Taking into consideration, you really have, you have November, December, a little bit of January off, right? Because you got to start ramping up on your own, start working out, getting your body in shape, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's really important to make a statement. It's really important. Pete Alonso, we want you. We want you 35 to 45 home runs every year. We want you 90 to 110 RBIs every year. You're solid. I'm going to use the word solid. That guy, Pete Alonso, was 7th rated in all of baseball in the scoop department. He was the 7th best scoop ratio first baseman in all of baseball. That's saying something. He saved a lot of errors and a lot of games with his scoop ability at first base. Now, sure, he's clumsy. He's the polar bear. He's awkward. Every fly ball in foul territory is an adventure. Sure. You got all offseason to work on that, okay? I'd catch 100 balls a day. I'd have different wind conditions. You could set up the machine to make it curve left, right, in, out, whatever. That's what I would do if I'm the New York Mets. You could agree with me. You could disagree with me. Whatever it is, right? Clark, there's one thing that I learned, and my buddy Brett's teaching me this. If the owners didn't have the money, these contracts wouldn't exist. And hence, that's what started my protest of going to live games, is because you have billionaires beating up millionaire and sometimes billionaires, right, as the players. And if the money wasn't there, Clark, these numbers wouldn't exist. So when the owners cry poverty, it's hogwash. It's complete chaos. And I don't know if you all can see my face. I mean, I purchased a podcast light. It's behind the computer, so it lights me up. You don't have that dark image that I used to have. I'm upgrading my studio, and I hope you could appreciate the effort that I'm putting in to bring you a quality product every Thursday, 8:30. If you're not a member of Angie's Angles, please subscribe, log on, watch me on Facebook. I'd appreciate it. Angie's Angles 4121 on YouTube. Look it up. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment. I would greatly appreciate that. So we're at the 850 mark already. So let's bring up the next thing I want to talk about. We did that. So now we're in the top free agents, right? These are the top free agents with the teams that they're currently on. So we're going to put on our prognosticator hat. All right, you can't see me. We'll go a little sideways, right? We'll sideways it. I personally believe that Juan Soto is going to re-sign with the Yankees. That's my prediction. They're going to give him his money, and they might break it out into a after 4-year opt-out option. I could see that happening for Juan Soto and the Yankees. He means too much to that team, even more than Judge. I mean, Juan Soto didn't spit the bid in the playoffs. Sadly, Aaron Judge did for himself, even though Aaron Judge came off the monster season that he produced. Corbin Burns, in my heart of hearts, believes he's going to be a New York Met. Alex Bregman's going to be your new third baseman for the New York Mets. And if we lose Pete, Vientos goes to first. And if we don't lose Pete, Vientos is your first baseman, and Pete's going to be your DH, and they're going to back and forth, maybe 5-2, with Pete playing 2 games at first base. Willie Adames. I think Willie Adames could be a San Diego Padre or San Francisco Giant. I got Blake Snell going to the Mets. I got Max Fried going to the Mariners. We already spoke about Pete Alonso, and if Pete doesn't sign with the Mets, he's going to wind up in Boston, and I'm going to give Kevin Elliott a shout-out for that prediction. It's not my prediction. It's Kevin Elliott's. Teoscar Hernandez, I could definitely see him winding up in Colorado or San Francisco. Christian Walker could go to the Rangers. And Anthony Santander is your new right fielder for the New York Mets /DH. What says you guys? I want to hear it. Clark, I don't know if Juan Soto is in the same category as Ohtani and wants to backload anything. I think Juan Soto wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He certainly proved that by turning down the $400 million plus from the Nationals. I mean, I rooted for him to get turf toe after he did that. He really did not have a quality season with the Padres. Although, of course, 30-something home runs and 100 RBIs isn't anything to sneeze at. But I want you guys to DM me, drop me a line on YouTube, a comment about where do you guys think this is all going to go. I'm going to go back and watch my podcast at a later date. I'll write down my predicciones, and let's compare them, and let's see what we're doing. And by the way, on predictions, I wasn't far off on Harrison Bader. Sure, he didn't hit for a 270 batting average. He came out about 250. I said about 17 home runs. I believe he wound up with 14. And he played, Clark, a full season injury-free, if you know what I mean. That's my prognosticator hat right there, folks. And it's funny. I can't. I'm trying to watch it in the mirror. I'm not mirrored, so it's hard to. Where's the bill of my cap? Let's go back to comments here. Eric, what's going on, buddy? Hey, what's going on, champ? It's all good. Thanks for signing. So, Mark Brooks, let me say something. Mark Brooks is asking me about Eric. About I was going to say Eric Schuster because Eric Schuster has a man crush on Trevor Bauer. Mark, if Trevor Bauer didn't sign with a Major League Baseball team this year, I don't think he's ever going to sign with a Major League Baseball team. I think Major League Baseball has done a grave injustice to Trevor Bauer. I think they've blackballed him. They've railroaded him. I don't think he sees a Major League Baseball mound for the rest of his life, and that's sad because I think what happened to Trevor Bauer. Now, listen, I'm not putting Trevor Bauer on any saint pedestal. The guy did what he did, but nothing illegal about it. Maybe he has to check his moral compass, perhaps just a tad. Clark, I think Trevor Bauer would be outstanding in St. Louis. 100%. 100%. But we will see. All right, we're at day 56, Mark. I hope you appreciated what I brought to the table today. It's time for our prayer circle. Harold, we're praying for Dawn Squared, your wife and your coworker and your friend Ed. Scott Tobias, thanks for checking in today. We got your mom and your wife in our prayers, Scott. Linda Stein, we're praying for your dad, hon. Hope everything works out over there, and as the days tick by, you just get to enjoy them. Mark Brooks, we're praying for your dad and yourself, young man. Stay vertical, Mark. Kevin Elliott, my good friend from Oceanside High School, who I speak with ad nauseum every day as he faces his health challenges. Kraus family, as Aubrey faces her remission with the C word. And we're going to beat that into remission permanently. Clark, we got your brother-in-law Brad and your sister Trish in our prayers and yourself, sir. We're hoping that you're able to pick up a golf club come the warmer weather, my friend. Devin Lee down in Maryland. We are praying for you and Lee as he faces his health challenges. Mr. McGowan, sir, we have your six, my friend, as you battle every single day that C word. Marianne Bello, thanks for checking in today. We got your mom in our prayers, Mayor. Hope things are well. Big John, Smoke Therapy Lounge. We're praying for Cousin Richie and Phil's Nona. Larry Levy. We're praying for your wife, Frida, as she too faces the C word. Tom, we're praying for your friends, Paul and Janet. John, we're praying for Elizabeth and Larry. And Coach, we're praying for your friend, Tom, who lost his nephew. Everybody, hit your knees tonight on an extra special prayer request from me. That come Wednesday morning, regardless of how you vote and who you vote, that the nation can come together and accept the ballot choice that we've all made. May whatever leader comes to the front have the strength, God's guidance, to do what's good for us Americans. We need to get back to some normalcy. And I, for one, will start it. You will not hear a peep from me, regardless of which direction it goes. Whoever is the next president of the United States has my unwavering support. Let's get that going, because if it starts here, it could only have a domino effect to the rest of us American citizens. This has been Angie's Angles, coming to you live from Smoke Therapy every Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Hit my subscribe button, like my page, Angie's Angles 4121. Good night. God bless. I love you.